Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Alright guys, today we have some really intriguing news that could shake up the NFC East, and more specifically, the Washington Commanders. It's a story that's been developing quietly, but has the potential to have huge repercussions for the team's future. And trust me, it's something every fan of the Commanders needs to pay close attention to. So buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you could be a game changer, especially when we're talking about the team's ground game and their pursuit of that elusive Super Bowl title. Let's start with what's happening in Los Angeles, because, believe it or not, the Chargers have just made a pretty interesting move involving Najee Harris, the talented running back who's been making waves in the NFL since he entered the league. The Chargers, who had just signed Harris during the 2025 offseason, were looking to bolster their backfield with a versatile and powerful runner. Harris, coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers, was seen as a perfect fit for their offensive scheme, especially given his downhill rushing style, his ability to fight through contact, and his skill in breaking tackles. He's a guy who can wear down defenses over the course of a game, opening up opportunities for play-action passes and setting the tone physically. But here's where things get interesting. Before the season even kicks off, Harris faces some unexpected hurdles. During a 4th of July event, Harris was involved in a fireworks mishap that resulted in a superficial eye injury. His agent, Doug Hendrickson, came out with a statement saying that Najee Harris sustained a superficial injury during the incident, but that he's fully expected to be ready for the upcoming NFL season. That's good news, right? Well, it might be, but it also raises questions about his readiness for training camp and whether he'll be able to start the season on time. The reality is, Harris might miss the start of training camp, and that could be a big problem for the Chargers. You see, Los Angeles has already drafted Omarion Hampton in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Hampton is a promising young talent who's seen as a future star, and he's already challenging Harris for the starting role. If Harris isn't out there at the beginning of camp, that gives Hampton a golden opportunity to seize that starting spot and establish himself as the lead back early in the season. It's a critical situation for Najee Harris because, despite his talent, he's now facing competition from a guy who's hungry and eager to prove himself. And let's not forget, the Chargers also have Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal in the backfield. Haskins, a powerful runner himself, and Vidal, a promising rookie, provide Los Angeles with some options. But if Harris's injury lingers, or if the coaching staff prefers to see Hampton take the reins, there's a real possibility that Harris could be on the move. And that's where the Washington Commanders come into the picture. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Why should Washington be involved in this? Well, let's break it down. The Commanders, coming off a surprisingly strong season, made it all the way to the NFC Conference Championship game under the leadership of head coach Dan Quinn. For a team that was considered a rebuilding project just a few years ago, that's an impressive feat. But they're not done yet. They're hungry for more, and they're aware that to take the next step, to truly compete for a Super Bowl, they need to make some strategic moves, especially on the ground. Their current running back room has some solid pieces, no doubt. Austin Eckler, who's been a workhorse and a dynamic dual threat, is aging and showing signs of decline. Meanwhile, Brian Robinson Jr. has flashed potential, especially in the secondary role, but he's not quite the complete package as a lead back. That's a problem because relying heavily on Jaden Daniels as a dual-threat quarterback to carry the rushing load isn't sustainable in the long run. The team needs a true, power running back who can take on a heavy workload, wear down defenses, and open up the passing attack. And that's exactly what Najee Harris can bring to Washington. Harris, with his downhill rushing ability, is a perfect fit for the Commanders' needs. His style of running, fighting through contact and breaking tackles in open space, would add a new dimension to their offense. Think about how much more effective their passing game could be if defenses had to respect a power runner like Harris, who can carry the ball 20, 25 times a game and grind out tough yards. It's exactly the kind of player that could help Washington take that next step, especially in the NFC East, where physicality and ground control often determine the outcome of games. And let's look at some numbers to really emphasize what Harris could bring. Over the first 4 years of his career, Harris rushed for an impressive 399 yards, and scored 28 touchdowns. That's a guy who has proven he can carry a heavy workload, be a consistent threat, and perform under pressure. His ability to wear down defenses over the course of a game would be invaluable for a team like Washington, which is trying to solidify its identity as a physical, run-first team. Plus, his experience as a former starter in Pittsburgh means he's used to being the focal point of a rushing attack, which is exactly what the Commanders need right now. Now, I know some of you might be wondering about the logistics. Would the Chargers really consider trading Harris? Well, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if they believe Amarian Hampton is ready to take over or if Harris's injury and the competition from other backs make him expendable. When a player like Harris becomes available, especially before the season starts, teams with a clear need for a power back, like Washington, are naturally going to be interested. The Commanders, with their current running back situation and the desire to push further in the playoffs, could see Harris as the perfect piece to complete their puzzle. And beyond just the on-field fit, it's a strategic move for Washington. They've already shown they're willing to make bold moves to improve their roster. Bringing in a player like Najee Harris would send a message to the NFC East that they're serious about contending and not afraid to make aggressive decisions. It would also give them a proven, durable, and talented back who can handle the workload and help reduce the pressure on Jaden Daniels, especially in critical moments. Of course, this isn't just about adding a talented player. It's about upgrading the entire identity of the team. The Commanders need to establish a more balanced attack, one that can physically impose itself on opponents while also creating opportunities downfield. Harris's style of running complements that philosophy perfectly. Plus, his experience and consistency would bring leadership and stability to a position that's been a bit of a question mark for Washington over the past few seasons. So, what does this all mean for the upcoming season? Well, if the trade does happen, it could be a pivotal move for the Commanders. It might give them the extra punch they need to push past tough divisional opponents like the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, teams that pride themselves on their tough defenses and run-stopping capabilities. Harris's addition could tip the scales in close games, especially in those grueling NFC East battles, where every yard counts and physicality often decides the outcome. And let's not forget, this kind of move also sends a message to the rest of the league. The Commanders are serious about winning now. They're willing to make bold moves, invest in the right players, and build a team that can compete for championships. Harris's presence on the roster would be a statement that they mean business, and that they're not settling for just being a playoff team. They want to be Super Bowl contenders. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about the chemistry? Will Harris fit into the locker room? Well, based on what we know about him, he's a hardworking, dedicated player who's been a leader on his previous teams. His style of play and mentality would mesh well with the culture Washington is trying to build. Plus, with a coaching staff like Dan Quinn's, known for developing players and maximizing their potential, Harris could thrive and help elevate this team to new heights. In summary, we're looking at a situation where the Chargers might be willing to part ways with Najee Harris, especially if they believe Amarian Hampton is ready to step into a bigger role. For Washington, this could be a golden opportunity to acquire a proven, powerful running back who fits their needs perfectly. It's a move that could redefine their ground game, strengthen their overall roster, and send a clear message that they're here to contend. So, fans of the Commanders, keep an eye on this story. It's still developing, but if it comes to fruition, it could be one of the most impactful offseason moves for Washington in recent memory. The NFC East is already one of the most competitive divisions in the league, and adding a player like Najee Harris could turn the tide even further in Washington's favor. It's about building a team that's tough, balanced, and ready to take on anyone. And I, for one, am excited to see how this saga unfolds. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this possible Najee Harris trade? Do you think it's a move that could push the team to new heights? Or do you believe they should focus on developing what they already have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Washington Commanders news. This offseason is heating up, and the excitement is just beginning. Let's keep the discussion going and keep supporting our team. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Commanders!